God Complex by Tristan Krahn. It was a miracle of science, a triumph of the human mind over nature that allowed them the chance to be gods, but it was careless hubris that destroyed them. The Large Hadron Collider, the largest particle accelerator on planet Earth, $10 billion worth of high-energy hardware, the world's most expensive science project. It was here that the most cutting-edge physical breakthroughs in human history became realities. It was here, 100 meters below the Earth's surface, in a 27-kilometer circular tunnel, that humanity's brightest minds verified a generation-old prophecy, first described by the luminary of particle physics, Peter Higgs. The discovery of his namesake field was a crowning achievement, not only for particle physics, but for humanity as well. The Higgs field, the field underlying the entire standard model of physics, the field that gives particles mass by interacting and slowing down these particles, each to a point where their wave function no longer vibrates at the same frequency as light and other massless particles, allowing them to interact with each other and form the most basic elements. This field, finally discovered by a machine that smashes particles together so hard that the resultant debris actually mimics, for a brief nanosecond, the conditions present just after the Big Bang. The Large Hadron Collider had, in short, succeeded in creating tiny, short-lived universes, thus bestowing godhood on the human race. For each new collision that resulted in a momentary Higgs field, a new universe was born and lived out its natural progression in the fraction of an eye blink. To the physicists, it was no more than a few nanoseconds to live and die. To the tiny universe, it took tens of billions of years. This marvel of science should have bred humility into the physicists that represented the human race, but instead it bred a God complex. Now that humans could create whole universes, they wanted to see if they could manipulate the conditions just long enough that they could create a tiny, fleeting version of their own universe. Not only were they playing God, they were trying to be their own creators. What would they do when they succeeded? Would they build a shrink ray and draw straws to determine which egghead would play diminutive ambassador to a synthetic analog universe? They would have to act fast, in the space of a few picoseconds, if they wanted to interact with analog humans. Perhaps they could beam the universe into space using quantum teleportation, and somehow expand the universe so that humans seeking a holiday in an artificial analog universe could simply go into deep space, cross a barrier, and be within a smaller but virtually identical universe to their own. It was a miracle of science, a triumph of the human mind over nature, but in the end, their hubris did destroy them, for as they had hoped, the physicists truly did create their own universe. Due to the infinite nature of probability, it was by mere chance that they created the exact universe they existed in. Before they had a chance to examine it themselves, the tiny universe annihilated, taking the entire human race with it, casualties of their own God complex.